One day, I was on my way to work when a person stopped me. I sort of recognized the guy, but he really seemed to know me. He was asking me random questions like, "Hey, don't you go to Douglas?" Then he said the most random thing, "Didn't you want to fight me?" Immediately I say no. Then he stops and looks me up and down and says, "Empty your pockets." Yet again I say no. "What you mean no?" he replies as he reaches into his pocket. In my head I started thinking he was reaching for everything from a knife to a gun. So I did one of the smartest, dumbest things I've ever done. I turned and ran full speed into a corner store. As I ran, the guy was shouting, "Don't tell nobody, I'm gonna blow your back." That, I guess, was meant to make me stop. Once I got into the store, I calmly told the owner what happened and asked, "May I sit in your store for a while?" Thankfully, the owner says yes. About 10 minutes later, the boy on the bike came back. He peeked in the store and saw me. He gave me a really intense look. I was trapped in the store. A few minutes later, I called my job and told them what happened. They called a cab for me. To pass the time, I talked to the owner about different brands of chips. I sat in that store for over 2 hours. Eventually, my job just sent someone to come get me. My job wanted me to file a report. That was supposed to be simple. Call, complain, hang up, right? When I got to the Western District, they told me to sit down in the interrogation room. 2 detectives walked in. The one on my right was really nice to me and asked me to tell him what happened. After I was finished telling my story, the detective on the left said, "That's some If he really wanted you, he'd have got you." Wow, so you want me to die? I thought. Then the detective on the right said, "Hey man, if nothing happened, we could just let you go now." Then it hit me. They're doing the good cop, bad cop thing. I couldn't contain my laughter. I mean, who really thought they would actually do that? The detective on the left told me, "Shut the up before I beat your retarded in this room, and trust me, no one would care." They left me in the room alone. You never know how different every wall is until you stare at it for over 20 minutes. I can remember this one block. It had 24 dots, 6 lines, and 4 cracks. I started seeing myself in the block, wondering, am I a line or a crack? After a while, the detective walked in and asked me, why was I lying to him? "What do you mean?" I replied. The detective replied, "I don't say things that I don't already know the answer to. The boy was your friend, and you came up with this elaborate story so you can have an excuse to miss work." I started to lose my cool. I told the detective, "Dude, don't you think that's a little over the top? I mean, there are a ton of different excuses I could have used." "Stop lying," the detective says. He claimed he had a videotape of the story and I was never seen in the video. "What, are you blind? How can you tell me I wasn't there when the taxi I was supposed to get in was sent to that address?" The detective told me to shut up. Then he smiled and said, "You're going to jail tonight." Angrily, I said, "This some How do I get arrested for being a victim?" At that moment, my aunt walked in the room. I immediately thought, well, I'm definitely going to jail now. If the police don't believe me, my aunt definitely won't. Still, I told her what happened. After I finished my story, she just stared at me. I swear, I thought she was just going to say, "See you in 20 years, Montel." But then she says, "I believe him." I don't know who was more surprised, me or the detective. Then she says, "I'll take him home, sir. I believe him. He wouldn't lie about that." Reluctantly, the detective files my report. He looked really disappointed that I wasn't going to end up in a cell. Before this incident, I thought the police were meant to protect and serve. But now, I see they're just big bullies in uniforms.